Hello, Sam here with jbugs.com. The last thing we want to install before we send our 1963 Resto Custom Beetle to paint and body is pop-out quarter windows, as we never like drilling on a freshly painted car. We offer pop-out kits for pre-1964 and 1965 through 1977 Beetles. The kits include all the hardware needed to install the pop-out windows, including the hinges, screws, hinge covers, and the latches, along with the glass, frames, and pre-installed seals. The only other item you'll need to order is black or white pinch welt to install in the body to trim off the quarter window opening. Getting started, remove the quarter windows, which is simple as pushing the window out from the inside. An assistant outside the car to grab the window is helpful, as we actually used a foot since our seals were so dried out. As a side note, pushing windows out only applies for the tempered quarter and rear glass. Do not push out the windshield, as the laminated safety glass will shatter. The windshield seal must be cut to remove the front window. We'll start the installation by cutting the headliner material at the doorpost to better demonstrate our process. Cutting the material isn't necessary, but can be helpful, and if done carefully won't matter to the overall look, as this area will be covered by the hinge cover. The headliner hides the mounting holes on the B-pillar that are pre-drilled from the factory on 1963 and newer Beetles. 1962 and earlier models will have to drill the holes for the front hinge, which we'll cover here. Have an assistant hold the pop-out window assembly in place in the quarter window opening. And on the inside, verify that the window is centered in the opening and that the hinge is in place over the body seam. Push the hinge as far forward as possible. We're using the back of a hammer. Then use a center punch to mark the 5 holes for the hinge screws on the body. Drill the holes out with a 5/32 or 3/16 drill bit while leaving the pop-out assembly in place. The hinge for the assembly acts as a guide and can prevent a wandering drill bit. Once the holes are drilled, the pop-out assembly can be pulled and the shavings can be cleaned up. The rear latch, the left and right sides on the latches are marked, is installed onto the pop-out frame with the included hardware. Then the pop-out assembly is set in place at the body, and the screw plate is slid in at the body behind the back side of the hinge. The screws thread through the hinge, then the body, through the hinge again, and into the screw plate, and hold the pop-out in place at the front. The upper, lower, and middle screws install first and hold the assembly in place. The other 2 holes are for the hinge cover that will be installed later. With the front hinge screwed in place, we can position the rear latch on the back of the corner window opening. 1964 and earlier cars did not have the holes for the latches pre-drilled. Careful placement of the latch is needed, as the latch is contoured on the back side. Its position at the back of the opening is crucial for it to lie properly against the body. 1965 and later Beetles have the holes pre-drilled, but if you have a headliner in the car, they may be difficult to locate. Using the latch as a guide, a punch can be used to feel around for the holes. We have our latch mocked up in place just behind the edge of the body opening and mark the position with a marker. We then double check our placement before using a center punch to dimple the panel for the drill. The latch is moved and a 3/32 drill bit is used to drill the hole. Use caution when drilling so you don't hit or drill through the outside of the car. The latch is set in place, a screw is installed, the latch is lined up and the screw is tightened down. We check the operation of the latch, and after making certain that all 4 of the screw holes line up horizontally with the latch, center punch the other 3 holes. The holes are drilled out, and the remaining screws are installed and tightened down, and we test the latch one more time. Next, we can open the window and install the body pinch welt, which presses onto the sheet metal edge. Starting at one side of the front hinge, all the way around the opening to the opposite side of the hinge. The pinch welt is trimmed to length and pressed into place, so the hinge cover can be screwed into the 2 remaining holes to finish off the installation. The opposite side pop-out is installed in the same method, and we can send the 63 Resto Custom Beetle off for paint and body. When it's back, we'll get to finishing up the restoration, but in the meantime, we can get to work on our 1971 Eurolook Super Beetle, tearing down the body and going through the engine. Thanks for watching, stay tuned, And in the meantime, head over to jbugs.com for all the parts and accessories you'll need for your vintage Volkswagen restoration.